The Raptors lose to RJ Barrett's former team. Scottie Barnes goes down with an ankle injury, and Ja'Kobe Walter drops a career high. Let's go to the film room. Ja'Kobe Walter was electric in tonight's game, showing off the full package and notching a career high 19 points. Recognizes the opportunity to go backdoor, finishes inside, getting Campaign off his spot and drawing the foul. Again, attacking closeouts here, so attacks the closeout from OG, settles into a mid-range jump shot. He misses, but I'm just enjoying the aggressiveness here. This time, Scottie gets downhill, kicks out, and Ja'Kobe knocks down the corner three. Ja'Kobe was 3 of 7 from the three-point land tonight. Super important that he, consistently starts to hit that shot. So it's a great sign that he is hitting them like this in his rookie season. Again, I'm really impressed with his ball handling so far and craft in the pick and roll, even as a rookie. Gets into the pick and roll, and then a nice up and under over Cat for the finish. Again, I really like how he attacks closeouts, recognizes the opportunity with Campaign digging in, and then attacks the closeout, draws the foul. In transition, knocking down that corner three, big shot. And the great thing about Ja'Kobe, at least so far this season, is that I've really enjoyed his activity on the defensive end. Here he is, hedges the screen, realizes that Brunson rejects it, and then just switches automatically and walls off the driving lane. Really impressive stuff. Grabs the rebound too. Same idea here with Josh Hart. So he walls him off the paint, sends him into the help of Mobo, and watch how he instinctively goes to the corner. Really great situational awareness there from Ja'Kobe Walter. Once again, attacks the closeout, finishes for the layup in the second half. More of that shot creation off of the bounce here. Pick and roll, snakes it, and then settles into a mid-range jumper. Again, misses, but I really, really like his instincts there. I love how comfortable he looks getting to that shot. In transition, beautiful lob to RJ Barrett. Ridiculous. He even mentioned it afterwards. He's like, that ball kind of slipped out of his hand. Great point of attack defense here from Ja'Kobe on Campaign. Pressures him, goes around the screen, catches up, forces him to pick up the ball, and then is able to stick with him here, forces the shot clock violation. I like his instincts off ball too. Watch how he sets a screen for Grady so he can cut to the basket. And huge moment in the game here, just off of 2 pin downs, settles into the jump shot, hits it, and one on the three-pointer to give the Raptors the lead in the fourth quarter. And so Ja'Kobe Walter was massive in this one. Showed off brilliance in terms of shot making, creation, off of the bounce, off the ball. All of it was there. And that is why the Raptors drafted him. That is exactly what they saw in him when they drafted him in the 2024 draft. That is the potential of Ja'Kobe Walter. The two-way stuff, the shot creation, creating off of the bounce. The ball handling is something that I've been really, really impressed by. And he'll continue to grow. And for what it's worth, folks, he will be given more opportunity over the next few weeks for the Toronto Raptors because Scottie Barnes sustained an ankle injury, collided with Karl-Anthony Towns in the third quarter. There was a clip that showed that he said, "I can't feel my leg." And so, I'm not going to be the doctor. I'm not going to speculate as to how bad it is. Apparently, according to Darko Rajakovic, x-rays have come back negative. That could be a good sign. Obviously, he's going to do further imaging and testing on that ankle to see how long he's going to be out for. It is an ankle injury. And again, I'm not a doctor. I've broken my left ankle. I've severely sprained my right ankle. So I know a thing or two about ankle injuries. They can be finicky. They can be weird. And we'll just see what happens with Scottie. But truthfully, what a bummer. What an absolute bummer. It's deflating to have to deal with so many injuries for this Raptors season. I tweeted it out, but the Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Emmanuel Quickley core, those 4 players have only played 18 minutes together. Not just this season, not just last season, 18 minutes total. That's it. If you add Jakob Poeltl into that lineup, that 5-man lineup has played 5 minutes together. So injuries have sucked the life out of talent evaluation. Not just for me breaking down plays and whatnot, but I imagine it really impacts the Raptors front office too because they don't know what they have in front of them until they play together. And you can harp on, we have so far in this show, we can harp on the development of RJ Barrett and doing things on an individual front and becoming a better playmaker, and Grady coming into his own as a shot creator, and Jacoby showing flashes, and Jonathan Mobo showing flashes, and Davion Mitchell becoming this consistent force off of the bench, and all these different things. But until you see it be put together, it's hard to assess what you have. And this Raptors team has now lost 16 of their 18 games by 7 or less points. So they're in these games. They're competitive in these games. They're getting into these moments with really good teams. You can think of Denver. You can think of Sacramento. You can think of Boston. You can think of tonight versus New York. They are in these moments. And it's just deflating because we haven't been able to see them at full strength. And I've said this, I've hit this, kind of note a million times on these recaps, but this Raptors team is so much better than their 7-18 record right now. And it's because of the injuries. So I hate to be pessimistic here, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'll have a positive tone to myself in a second. But the truth is, it sucks. It really does suck that Scottie got injured. It's deflating. He was playing great basketball, almost averaging a triple-double since he returned from his eye injury, which, he missed a bunch of time for. And so it just is deflating. There's no way to beat around the bush here. The fact that their core has only played 18 minutes together, and if you include Jakob Poeltl, 5 minutes together, it's just deflating that we haven't got to see the full product together. It just is. And so I hope it's not too serious for Scottie Barnes. I know people are on the, ethical tank and all that type of stuff, but there is a fun way to do that, and there's a not so fun way to do that. That being said, I do think, even without Scottie Barnes in the lineup prior to this return and injury, when it was just RJ and Grady running the show and Jakob doing his thing, especially in that West Coast road trip, like, the games were fun. The games were entertaining. We were still seeing good basketball. So the one thing I would say for you guys to kind of take solace in is that no matter how long Scottie Barnes is out for, and again, we'll see, it could be weeks, it could be months, who knows, right? No matter how long he's out for, this team is going to remain competitive. This team is going to remain, battling and trying really hard. And this team is going to try its ass off, man. And so that aspect, seeing these players develop individually, will still bring out some of the fun of this season. And so while it's unfortunate that we haven't got a chance to see these guys fully together, I think you can still find a way to enjoy this season by still watching the Toronto Raptors. Okay. Jacoby was awesome. Scottie injury. We got those two things done. The overall game, I thought the Raptors did a really good job against the number one offense in the NBA. I thought they did a great job defensively. I thought for the most part, Davion Mitchell, Ochai Agbaji, those guys really locked in at the point of attack. I just talked about Jacoby and what he did at the point of attack. Scottie, when he was playing, was good. Jakob Poeltl was awesome against Cat and had a few possessions against OG in the perimeter too. And so they played a good defensive game overall as a team. RJ Barrett had a great offensive game. He did. He had a great offensive game, had 30 points, did it on 54% shooting, made 3 threes. I think offensively was superb. Okay. And as Scottie is injured now, we're going to see RJ shoulder even more of a load on the offensive end, back to RJ playmaker, point RJ, if you will, as he was when when Scottie was out the first time. So RJ was great in this one on the offensive end. He really was. Played great against the Knicks. There was that possession near the end of the game where he drove and Cat kind of stonewalled him and RJ blocked the shot. I thought that was good process overall. RJ was playing a great game. You want to get RJ the ball? Makes sense to me. And he probably wanted that moment against his former team. That being said, no matter how great of an offensive game it was for RJ, it was a very, very rough game on the defensive end. And he was part of the problem on the defensive end tonight. So let's go to the film room and break that down. So RJ Barrett's off-ball awareness really struggled tonight. Just fell asleep a couple times. Here he is, doesn't really fight through any of these screens, and OG Anunoby knocks down the three here. See how he overplays here and gives OG an easy backdoor cut. I thought on ball he was fine. He was kind of sticking to his man. Good job here, sticking with Deuce. But it really was the off-ball stuff that was tough. Right here, this pick and roll, it's RJ as the low man that has to step up and help Kelly Olynyk. And Davion actually points that out to him. Same thing here. Watch as RJ kind of, he's the nail help here. Doesn't recognize the off-ball movement that's happening. Campaign just slips backdoor for a finish. Another situation where RJ is camped at the nail. He's trying to help, but look where his man is in OG Anunoby. And so he forces Scottie to have to recover out. He believes Mikal is in the dunker spot and then just falls asleep for a second as Mikal pops out to the corner for a three. And so those things just can't happen, right? I want to reiterate this because there are going to be people in the comments who say, hey, why are you being so harsh on RJ? Why are you being so harsh? This is the steps that are required to become an all-star in this league. And I think RJ's aspirations are to be an all-star. I think especially at home, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, RJ has been an all-star level player. Absolutely dominant. 6 games at home now where he's dropped 30-plus points. That's incredible. Like, no question in my mind. The steps that he's taken as a playmaker is also a huge part in this whole equation. He made some dimes, especially in the fourth quarter. So I don't want to take away from that aspect of things. I really don't. But in order for him to get to that next level, in order for him to be a legitimate all-star in this league, he also needs to be better on the defensive end. That's an evolving process. And these are things that he can clean up. It's not for a lack of physical tools. It's not for a lack of hip mobility. It's not for a lack of speed or burst and whatnot. I think RJ has pretty much most of the physical tools you need to be at the very least a neutral defender in the NBA. Tonight, he was not a neutral defender. He was a negative defender. And you have to highlight these things because I think ultimately, one, it helps the fan recognize both the good and bad process of development and like how much more room these players have to grow. And in a player like RJ, who has taken massive steps on the offensive end, has really changed his game over the last year to morph into this guy who's effective on the offensive end, can finish, can get downhill, an incredible transition player, has worked and improved on his three-point shot. Great playmaker now, especially in the pick and roll. One of the best in the NBA in the pick and roll. He has to also get better on the other side of the ball. That is the next step for RJ as he continues to evolve. And that's the truth. Folks, the game was fun. The game was entertaining, but it was also deflating because of the Scottie injury. It was just weird. I have an uneasy feeling in my stomach right now because, you take all of the point form facts of this game, right? Scottie Barnes gets injured in the third quarter, deflating. What a bummer of a season. Jacoby Walter notches a career high. Okay, that's awesome. Great. This is, he's developing. It's great that he's back. He himself has sustained a bunch of injuries this season, and hopefully, we're going to see a very fun second half of the year for Jacoby Walter. RJ Barrett puts up 30 points, does well against his team, but unfortunately the team falls short in the clutch. Cat hits a big shot. RJ gets blocked. All of these above things that happen to the Raptors, and RJ also struggles on the defensive end. And so they didn't get the dub. Their franchise player got hurt. One of their rookies scored a career high. Jonathan Mobo, I thought was good. Kelly Olynyk, I thought was good. And I still feel like, what a game. Like, it was just a weird game, And, it's kind of just deflating. It is. I have a deflating feeling. It just is. That's exactly what it is for this Toronto Raptors team. And as much as I can sit here and tell you guys, like, hey, be looking on the bright side, be positive, be looking at the fact that, like, there are going to be guys who get more opportunities. Jonathan Mobo will eventually get more opportunity here, no doubt, with Scottie Barnes out. Hopefully Emmanuel quickly comes back within the next month or so. We did get a report today as well that, like, he's progressing, but they're not getting any sort of imaging done. And he's kind of on the way, but there's still a while left before IQ can play. And so you're missing your two highest paid players in IQ and Scottie. Ultimately, the Raptors have been in this situation before. Actually, they were in this situation to start this season. And it will be interesting to see how the team shifts, how they give more opportunity to RJ. They'll probably run more stuff from Jakob Poeltl, the high post playmaking and whatnot. Grady will ultimately step into a bigger offensive role. I imagine Jacoby also steps into a bigger offensive role. He'll get more opportunity. So there are these little things that I'm intrigued by, but ultimately still deflated. And I imagine that most of you guys watching this video also still deflated. So best of luck to Scottie Barnes. Hopefully it's not that serious of an injury. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looked, I would say. Again, ankle injuries are finicky. Anyways, folks, hope you guys... Actually, I want to leave on something positive. Look forward to the fact that, these rookies are awesome. They're working their asses off. This whole team is incredibly resilient and plays really, really hard. And so no matter what happens here over the next couple of months and ethical tanks and all that type of stuff, know the fact that, anytime you tune into a Raptors game, you're going to get a good product, which I think is underrated when it comes to tanking and sucking. There is the Washington Wizards, we're going to lose 16 games in a row type bad. And then there's what the Toronto Raptors are doing, which is hey, we're going to try very, very hard. We're going to develop these guys, but we're also going to try to win games. And if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. And we'll see how the cards might fall. But injuries have prevented them from being better than what they are, which is so frustrating. That being said, that's the positive side of things, folks. As always, subscribe to the Raptors Republic YouTube channel. We're almost on the way to 12,000 subscribers. Hopefully we've hit it by the time you watch this video. Appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you later. Take care.